All right, welcome back, everyone, to the MSSU Summer Show. Today, here with me today, I have Dr. Robinson, the director of bands. He handles all things orchestra to marching band to if it's a musical instrument, he's got it. So thank you for being with me here today. So
Absolutely.
the first thing I want to ask is what got you interested in music and not only just interested, but what made you want to both major in it and teach it?
Sure. Well, from a young age, in elementary school, I participated in church choir and was, in played recorder in my school elementary music classes, and dabbled a little bit on piano. And both my brother and I were, kind of very involved in music at a real early age. So when we had an opportunity to join band in seventh grade, it was a natural, fit for us because we had already kind of dabbled a little bit in singing and other things, and we were real interested in instrumental music. So we got in our junior high band program, excelled in junior high, and got in the high school band program, and we started taking private lessons, and it was kind of one of those things that we really enjoyed doing, and we started excelling at it. So I thought maybe I needed to think a little more seriously about this. Growing up, I played sports, specifically tennis and baseball, as I got older, and I knew that I wasn't going to have much of a career in those two things, but I felt like musically, music was something that not only was I felt like I was good at, but it was something that I could possibly do once I left high school. So I started, like I said, taking private lessons, and took lessons with the instructor over at Arkansas State University. Met a lot of the faculty over there, and built some relationships, and was offered a scholarship to go there. And so it was something that just kind of seemed like a natural fit. It was an interest, and it was something that I had done well in, and it just by the time I got to be a junior in high school, honestly, there wasn't really anything else that I wanted to do, except be a music major. So I know some people, have lots of different interests, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Like when I talk to students that are thinking about coming to Southern and talk to them about being a music major, or have other interests, a lot of times they'll have several things that they want to do. And honestly, it's hard for me to relate to that because I've always wanted to do music, and that was kind of decided at a very early age. So I love it. I love it. Still love it. So that's kind of where I got my start, and why I wanted to be a music major.
Oh, very nice. So is music just one of those things that makes you feel it not only brings like a happiness, but just almost calms yourself. I for like me, music is just something that it's just almost calming to do. It's just I go and even though I'm not great at playing piano, I go and I just play something on the piano. And it's just nice. It takes you away from everything and you kind of just seclude yourself almost. It's just a very nice, surreal thing to do.
Well,
So is
yeah,
that what it's like for you?
yeah. Well, in some cases, I will say, I think regardless of what job you have, I think it's important to have outlets there. That where you are thinking about other things than your typical your quote unquote 9 to 5 job. Although our job is not a 9 to 5 job. But for me, like I've recently traveled, so I will put on headphones, and when I get on the plane, I put on something that relaxes me. I usually will listen to Beethoven symphonies or something along those lines, um, something that can just kind of relax me, or maybe some Chopin piano music. But one of the things that I really enjoy doing is listening to jazz, and it's hard for me just to sit back and listen to jazz without really getting into it, enjoying it, and wanting to be involved in it. So, whereas I may put Chopin on to relax for background music, if I put jazz or something that I enjoy playing, I don't really sit back and just kind of relax to that. It's something that I want to be in, like very active in and involved in. So for me, it depends on the genre of music that I'm listening to.
So walk us through just a music education degree, because go from anywhere from like the kind of most popular classes, the classes that you're doing the most in, to the most important projects students go through.
Sure. Now, as a non-major, you would take things like music appreciation or different classes that would count for that credit so you would get that music credit. If you're going to be a music major, we go into a lot more detail. So it would be, you would obviously take things that we would go into a lot more detail than you would for a specific like appreciation class. So to be a music major, you have to be proficient, obviously, on your instrument. So whether you're a singer or whether you're an instrumentalist, piano player, trumpet, tuba, whatever your instrument is, you would study privately on that instrument. So you would each semester you would play juries, and you're going to have recitals, and eventually you will get to your senior recital, which there's a requirement there where you kind of build up to that big senior recital where you play a concert by yourself. um, so not only do you study privately on your instrument, but other requirements, just like other majors, we have specific requirements for music majors. So we study music theory, which is kind of the nuts and bolts behind how and why we do certain things musically. The history of music. So you have to take a history sequence that kind of teaches us where it started and where it's kind of gone through, the different decades of music. And so you've got theory, you've got history, and then you also take a variety of music education courses. So there's methods courses that kind of help teach you about being a music teacher or being a band director or being a choir director. In my case, I mentor instrumental music education majors. And so uh, you have to take classes on how to teach saxophone, how to teach trumpet, how to teach all the different instruments throughout the band program. There's also classes on kind of about being a band director, being a choir director. So it gives you a little bit of detail not only about the actual instruments, but it goes into things like dealing with budgets, dealing with how to put a program together. What kinds of things do you think about? Band parent organizations. So like it goes above and beyond just what you would do on the podium teaching your students, but there's as a teacher, you wear a lot of different hats. And so we try to train you, whether it be on your instrument, whether it be music history, music theory, or in your methods courses, give you a little bit of everything. So once you get out, you kind of have this eclectic, uh, you know, degree to where, because you do wear lots of different hats, you've got to be kind of proficient in all these different areas. So it's time consuming, just like most other degrees. There's lots of things you have to do. You have to not only take those courses, but be very active in ensembles. You need to get those experiences because you're going to be teaching those ensembles, when you get out. So there are a lot of different things that you take as a music major, but we like to keep our students busy. And what we hear typically is when they're in the grind day to day, they realize they're super busy. When they get out and start teaching, I get those phone calls back and say, "Man, I'm glad I had to take this class, or I'm glad I had to do this because now I'm teaching jazz, or now I'm having to be a part of this program. I'm having to be a part of this." And so it kind of comes full circle at that point once they get out and start doing it.
Very nice. So, what are all the career paths you can take with more of an instrumental music degree? Like we have music education, but I assume there's like a very broad, bigger picture that you can take.
Sure. So, I mean, there's really kind of two schools of thought. You could be a music education major, or you could be a performance major. Those are kind of the two areas that um, that we look at. For the most part, our university is a teaching school. Most of the students that would come to Southern want to be a future music teacher. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a music education degree to teach. However, and this kind of gets into, people's philosophies and what they believe. You can perform um, with either degree. You can only teach with a music education degree. Okay. Now you can
Okay.
teach. You can have a private studio. You can teach lessons. You can do those kinds of things. But if you want to be a band director or a elementary music teacher, um, you have to have that education degree, or you have to have the equivalent to that. So, like there are some certifications and things you can get. Say you have a music degree, like a performance degree, you still have to get those ed certifications to be able to teach. Which is one of the reasons why we suggest if you want to teach, you need to get the education degree. Now, if you are a performer and that's what you want to do, if you want to perform for a living and you want to have like a studio, whether it be maybe eventually you want to be a college teacher, or you want to have like a studio of you want to teach private lessons, then you certainly can get a performance degree and focus on that route. Or if you are wanting to go on to get a master's degree right after your bachelor's degree, certainly you could get a performance degree and then maybe go on and get your master's in education if that's the route you wanted to go. But basically, there's two schools of thought there. You can get a performance degree or you can get an education degree, or kind of the big overarching things that you can do with music.
Which I mean, to me is very nice because it narrows it down a little bit.
Sure.
We have to decide a few things, and it was some majors. Like I'm a computer science major. There's so many. There's like you have computers, but there's so many networks. It's like, oh,
Right.
you like this, you have to do this. You like this, you got to do that. And there's so many. It's just overwhelming because it's like, well, I don't know what I like, and so for me that's at least nice because it narrows it down. And it's like, okay, I either get to teach or I perform.
Well, and typically, I mean, there are, like, we do have some other certifications. There's a music industry, which is something that we're kind of bringing around. So if you're interested in the industry side of music, that's kind of a certification. One of the things that we've kind of added here recently is you can get these little certifications, even being whether it be performance or education. On top of that, you can get these certifications that give you a little bit of extra expertise in a specific area, but you're still under that big umbrella of performance or education, which makes it a little bit easier to kind of maneuver. And typically, with a bachelor's degree, your degree is going to be a little more broad anyway, regardless of what field you're in. Then, as you decide, okay, I want to go to graduate school for your master's degree, rather than having all of these, um, rather than, you've got core classes that you take, but you've also got like biology and science and your physical science, or you've got math and all those things. For your master's degree, it's a much more specific course that you would take. So it would be, your course load would be, for example, for computer science, if you're wanting to go into that, you're not going to take a lot of extra stuff. There's not a lot of extra. It's going to be specifically geared toward that major. And same thing for music education or music performance. You would focus specifically on taking courses that would give you that. So it kind of starts very broad, and then as you kind of work your way up, it gets a lot more specific.
Very nice. Well, I would like to thank you for being here with me today. If anyone would like to know more about our music department and what everything they have to offer, simply just visit the department page, and I'm sure you'll find whatever you're looking for. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.